What's going on, guys? It's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back with another episode of Dragon Ball Andy Matrix. Okay, I am here at Collider.com and it says Mindy Kaling's McLean Scooby Doo series Velma gets season 2 release. Sweet. I absolutely love it. So what is up, guys? As you know, I was out for about a week and a half in the month of March, and I am back. And I'm doing this in case you haven't been here in a while. I'm doing this new video format where, like, I've been so busy studying and doing other things with my life, I don't have time to make a video every single day. So what I'm doing is I am crunching them up. I am basically balling up all the videos that I would make in 1 week and doing it all in one video. All right, so basically 5 topics in one video. Let's just say. So make sure to check the timestamp to look at each of the topics. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications, and yeah, subscribe to the channel. Like the video, comment below, and let's go ahead and get to it. And let's see what's going. Let's see what the month of April is bringing to us. So Mindy Kaling, the producer of the Velma show. The Velma show, I think it got one of the lowest ratings. Just got really low ratings. Like, think nobody was really watching this garbage except some YouTubers who wanted to hate on it, myself included. That's funny. Like, the only people that will watch this garbage shows are like the people that are making content, such as myself. We watch it just to hate on it. I'll be honest. It says Velma season 2 will premiere on HBO Max on April 25, 2024. So we're literally 20 days away from this garbage being put on HBO Max. So the show faced initial backlash for its mature theme, but broke barriers with Velma's queer identity. Broke barriers, yeah. See, look at this fake ass. This. I like how they like to sugarcoat everything. How they like to make everything, you know, seem better than it actually is. This show was garbage. Okay, it did not get a lot of ratings. It did not get any, good ratings. But the funny thing is that shows like this will get greenlighted. The same way that Disney keeps making garbage TV shows, despite of the fact that they're losing so much money. That Bob Iger should really be sleeping in the streets with the rest of the homeless people in California. But somehow they're still kicking for some reason. So the Velma show, season 2, and it's one of the reasons one of the reasons that I think this gets greenlighted is because because there is a group of people that will make TV shows and movies just out of spite. This just like they did to Star Wars and into a whole bunch of other franchises that people love. Is that they'll take a franchise and then they'll put a chick in it and make it gay and make it lame. For the simple fact that they know that is number one is going to be controversial. Number two is going to piss off the original fans, which is what they want, right? And then number three, it's they actually think it'll be like it'll actually get decent ratings, which it doesn't. So Velma 2 is just gonna be another garbage show that barely anybody's gonna watch. I don't think it's even gonna reach the millions. It's ridiculous. But anyways, that's all I'm gonna say about this ridiculous show that nobody cares about with Mindy Kaling as the main character, making herself as Velma. Velma being an Indian character, Indian American, I think, which originally she wasn't. Which is I don't know why they do this race swapping. Moving on to our next topic, I actually wanted to talk about this because this kind of shows, right? This kind of shows, the state, right? The state of, the anime conventions in America, the convention going. So recently, WonderCon just passed. It was in March, from March 24th to March 26th. So it was literally like a week ago, right? And WonderCon didn't do so well. Okay, WonderCon didn't do so well. Here we got Chris Gore. He says this year's WonderCon was sadly empty on a Saturday. On a Saturday, now keep in mind, Saturdays are usually the days where anime conventions are packed. Like I went to Anime Matsuri, man, that thing was packed, man. On a Saturday, it was shoulder to shoulder, bumper to bumper traffic, man. It was packed. And it says in all my years of attending cons, I've never seen a convention of this size this empty. Possible reasons. It says holiday weekend. Oh, actually, he actually has a point there. It was Eastern, right? Eastern, a Christian holiday. The day that Jesus resurrected. I think. I don't celebrate Eastern. I don't know. It's always been a weird holiday to me. I don't celebrate it. I never really knew what it was about because I don't know. I I was not born in America, but I lived in America. So I'll explain it later. Number two was rain, and for some reason, where is this at? Where is this located? Where is WonderCon located? That it was raining so much. Let me see. WonderCon, California. Okay, California. Well, yeah, I mean that kind of explains it. So it was raining a lot. It was actually also raining here where I'm from in the Northeast. Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. This area, the Northeast. It was actually raining a lot too. As to why it was raining so much, I don't know, but it's been that way for some reason. Bad economy, of course. Bad economy. People don't want to spend money. I don't want to spend money. I'm not going to any conventions this year. Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to any conventions this year. Last time I went to Anime Matsuri 2022, I went to see Vic Mignogna and like a whole bunch of other people there, and the geeks and gamers. I spent, let's see, it was like because I flew from the Northeast down to Texas, so that's a $400 flight, and then I took an Airbnb, which was I think it was $400, another $400, and then transportation, couple of hundred, and then food for the whole like weekend, and it adds up. It was like over $1,000, like over 1,000. I spent a lot of money. So conventions are expensive. What people don't understand is going to a convention is pricey unless you're gonna go with like a bunch of your friends and you're all gonna share the hotel room, right? And everybody's gonna pitch into the hotel room. It's gonna be pretty pricey. Because you gotta bring money for food. You're gonna bring money to buy stuff. So bad economy, people are rethinking, going to conventions. I mean, like, what are you gonna pick? Going to an anime convention, or paying the rent and eating? I don't know about you, but I'd rather keep a roof over my head and keeping my belly full. Those two things are more important than anime conventions and cosplaying. Me personally, maybe you guys are different. Maybe you guys are okay with going to a convention and then having no money to pay the rent. Hey, everybody's got their own priorities. And then it says lack of major brand boots, Ascend, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Funko. See, these are all things that nobody cares about anymore. Star Wars is garbage nowadays. Marvel, DC, garbage. Funko, I don't know what this is about, but a lot of franchise that have been modernized are all like garbage, and nobody cares about them anymore. There's no excitement, nothing exciting coming out that people actually care about. Otherwise, normies have checked out of nerd culture. Yeah, so normies have checked out of nerd culture. Remember when the normies, they all started going to Comic Con, they all started going to anime conventions. Because I don't know if it was they were looking for something to do. Maybe they just saw anime as a brand new hobby, something to do. But like when the normies came into the anime conventions were packed, bro. But now the normies, they're leaving. They're not as into nerd culture because nerd culture has been ruined by a certain group of people that we're not gonna mention because then YouTube's gonna kill me. Uh, so you guys get the point. So WonderCon, WonderCon is ruined, right? And I wonder if this is going to keep happening to other conventions. As the economy gets worse and worse and worse, we're probably going to see less people going to conventions, rightfully so. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I actually wanted to talk about that. This is coming from Breitbart.com. I found this article. Yellow Flash is talking about it, but I wanted to cover it because um, I don't know if people are like catching up, or I think finally, like Americans already knew that like since like 2018, a lot of movies just started to suck, but now it's some freaking overdrive, man. So it says here exclusive, but two to one. Americans say movies are worse today. Gee, I wonder why. Does it have anything to do with Hollywood, Disney, and all these other companies just taking our favorite franchises and just taking a dump on them, taking a dump on these franchises, right? So Americans are finally admitting that Disney's a disaster right here. Disney's a disaster. A lot of people are agreeing, and a lot of people are just checking out. They're checking out of the movie theaters. They're checking out of So not only are they checking out of nerd culture, because I mean I noticed here when we were just talking about WonderCon having low attendees, normies checking out of nerd culture, and I don't know if you understand, but this also includes things like Marvel, DC, Disney. They're checking out of this, of this as well. People are not going to the movies as they used to. I think I told you guys before. I used to be a moviegoer. The movies that I used to live in the movie theaters in the 2010s, man. In the 2010s, me and my friends, we would watch every freaking movie that came out. I will go to the movies like twice a month, three times a month, and now it's like last year I went to see how many movies did I watch last year? I literally went to watch I think one or two movies compared to before. I would watch like freaking 30 movies in 1 year. That's a lot of movie tickets, bro. So yeah, Americans are funny like, yeah, we're done. Yeah, this modern movies suck. All right, and I just wanted to cover that real quick. But what I really wanted to talk about for this video, this is pretty serious. It says here at the Guardian. This is the Guardian. It says, why are younger generations embracing the retro gaming revival? So does there's a revival in retro games, whether it is Nintendo 64, the old Nintendo games, and Nintendo game, the Game Boy, the Sega, a whole bunch. The arcade games. They're all coming back. A lot of them are coming back, and they're becoming more popular. And also, there's a lot of these machines. There's a lot of these what do you call it? These like retro video game consoles where like I don't know what you call them, but it's like those little gaming consoles that has like a whole bunch of like um that comes with like a whole bunch of like already installed games in it, like Super Nintendo games, old Nintendo game, Nintendo 64 games, all those stuff, old PlayStation games. You guys get it. Says retro video games and aesthetics are having a moment, but it's not just Gen X and older millennials reliving their heyday. Younger millennials and Gen Z are getting into the nostalgia too. But you know what it is? You know what it is too? It's also that the older generation, they're actually bringing in Gen Z and Gen Alpha into the retro stuff, because in modern day game, like AAA gaming now kind of sucks. Like modern day gaming kind of sucks with all this, with gaming becoming like a casino. It's free to play, but but once you start playing, then you want to spend money. It's like a casino, right? And modern day AAA games, people are just pissed off on modern day AAA games. So Gen X and millennials, they're going to Gen Z and Gen Alpha here. Hey, check out these games. Check out freaking Tetris and Super Mario and Nintendo 64 and the old play in PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. Look at all the great stuff we grew up with. And then Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they're like, wow, man, this is great. Like this, I didn't know this was so cool. Right, and here I found another article to support what we are just talking about, right? So here at metro.co.uk it says, retro gaming is the only thing I enjoy about video games now. Readers feature. So I guess they got a reader, one of the readers, to write an article about retro gaming. It says a reader reveals why he plays almost nothing but retro video games after realizing that modern titles are no longer for him. Wow. It says, I read with an interest recent article, London Games Market, and now intend to visit the one in Birmingham. And I've always enjoyed playing older games and have several retro consoles and computers, but I never thought of myself as a retro gaming in particular. That has started to change over the course of this generation, though, when I realized that new games were no longer appealing to me. There's a huge problem with new games, too. Like, take a look at Cyberpunk 2077. When it was first released, it had a whole bunch of bugs. Like a lot of the modern games, they're being released with a lot of bugs. A lot of bugs. It's very unprofessional. So it says, I'm not completely against new games as I enjoy Elden Ring and most of the Nintendo output, but I have no intention of ever playing anything online, at least of a live service. Yeah, live service. And I am increasingly tired of 50-hour-long narrative adventures with very limited gameplay. And this was the same problem. This is a problem that that Final Fantasy 16 had, where like Final Fantasy 16 is a great story, but like there's so much story, and sometimes it feels like there's so much dialogue and story and cutscenes that there's not enough gameplay. It does feel like that sometimes. It really does feel like that sometimes. And modern games are more like a movie, right? So modern games, they're more like a movie than just focus on gameplay. And this is one of the reasons why Hollywood wants to get into the video game industry, is because as Hollywood movies are dying because of their own fault, they want to get into video games because video games are actually way, 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 way more profitable than Hollywood movies. Hollywood movies make, I think, like 20, 30 billion a year. Video games now make 250 billion. Pretty soon, in a few more years, going to be $300 billion a year. It's a huge market, very, very huge worldwide. So, yeah. And that's retro games. So, the younger generation are getting into retro games. And again, he mentioned live services. I don't like live service games. I don't like a lot of the online games like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite. I don't like it. I do like games that go from point A to point B, and I'm not really into these games where it's like 100 hours long, like 100 hours of gameplay. That's way too much. Especially for somebody that's very busy. You got a job, you got things to do. You don't want to spend 100 hours, 50 hours playing video games. It's really nice to have like a 20-hour game that you can just, beat over the weekend. But anyways, and finally, to end our video, our final topic here is going to be the Critical Drinker. We got the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic. These guys have made their way onto Piers Morgan, the Piers Morgan show in the UK. Holy crap. I mean, these guys have seriously. I mean, Nerdrotic has become super popular, so popular. He's been in so many, on so many podcasts, and the Critical Drinker too. He interviewed Ben Shapiro, for God's sakes. But anyways, let's go ahead and see what we're gonna watch at least like 10 minutes of this. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but let's see what what they got in store for us here. Hold on. All right, let's hit it.
Work out what is going wrong with the recent series of flops, because Disney is not used to having flops. Nelson Peltz, who's a serious investor in Disney, has criticized Disney's woke strategy in an interview with the Financial Times. He said, "Why do I have to have a Marvel movie that's all women? Not that I have anything against women, but why do I have to do that? Why do I need an all-black cast?" What do you think of this? I mean, Critical Drinker, there's no doubt Disney's in a pretty poor run at the moment. How much of that is down?
Pretty poor run is an understatement.
To woking up the movies.
I mean, I think it's definitely a factor, but it's part of a much bigger picture that incorporates other issues like a general decline in storytelling quality, a prioritization of quantity over quality, and yeah, like delving too much into identity politics, which by their nature are divisive. Of course they are. And so all of those different factors working together have slowly undermined their creative output to the point where all of their major franchises are failing. Star Wars is kind of a disaster at the moment. The Marvel Cinematic Universe that used to be this money printing behemoth is churned out flop after flop in recent years, and even their own, their own unique animation movies like Wish,
Haunted Mansion flop, Pixar flops all over the place.
Yes, exactly. All of those different aspects of their creative output have flopped, and they've got nowhere to go at this point. Clearly, something has to change. What they're doing is not working anymore.
Yeah.
It's not gonna get better. Like I know a lot of people, everybody always gets hopeful. I really don't think it's gonna change, honestly.
I mean, the Jotting, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, a comic book tale featuring a strong female lead. The Marvels, a comic book movie featuring a diverse cast of strong female leads. Elemental, Disney's first animation featuring their first strong non-binary lead. All flopped. Maybe a coincidence, maybe not. People who are intent on attacking Disney saying, well, this is because they're pursuing a strategy that's not based on just producing great movies. They're pursuing a strategy trying to appease the woke brigade who will come hunting for them if they deviate from the woke worldview. Your thoughts?
The woke brigade that's within their building, right? So,
Right.
We see all these third-party companies in gaming that's going off right now. But like Disney is that third-party company. They are the DEI department. Lucasfilm is the DEI department, and now Marvel is too. And it was really easy for comic.
Neurotic is right. The problem is that we are living in HR world, in human resources world, where like they always want to tell you what to do, what you shouldn't do. It's like it's HR world, you know, and this destroys creativity.
Comic book fans to figure this out because we read the comic books. She-Hulk, for example, was a great comic book. It was reverent. It broke the fourth wall. That the famous run is by John Byrne, and I love the comic book. She-Hulk was a member of the Fantastic Four. This is one of my favorite female Marvel characters, and they destroyed her because they don't know what they're doing. I did a clip in one of my videos of all of the writers.
And look, and a lot of people think that, people like Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker, like, oh, you guys just hate modern day Disney. You guys just hate modern day Marvel and DC. No, it's like a lot of us, we grew up with Marvel and DC. We love these movies. We love these comic books. We love the comic books. We love the old cartoons. But fast forward to the 2010s, when Disney and all these other companies started like making live actions of these superheroes, no, it was it was really in the 2019, 2010 to 2020 where like they really started to ruin all these characters, right? In all these movies, like he's saying himself, like he used to love the She-Hulk until Disney took it and ruined it and turned it into a live action.
For most of the Disney Plus, stating that they didn't know anything about the comics and they didn't read the comics. And that's part of the reason, because they're just there for identity politics. It's we used to joke about they're just checking boxes when they're literally checking boxes now,
Right.
which kills creativity.
Ernest, you'd be sitting there grimacing. I mean, it's clearly demonstrably not working, this strategy. And I've just looking from the outside, look at it and think, yeah, they have been too concerned about identity politics, too concerned about appeasing their very woke workforce. And they should have just stuck to doing what Disney does best, make great family films and make a ton of cash.
So there's a lot of misinformation. And I think the issue is that no one here is actually really reading the real strategy. The problem is several things. There's a missing implication. There has been arguably films that were super successful. Black Panther had a predominantly Black cast, not all Black cast, and made $1.3 billion at the box office and had a really successful sequel. The reality is that when you start saying woke or DEI, there's another implication there where you're implying in many ways that what is the opposite of lack of diversity in those films? It's feeding to an all white cast or majority white cast and a lack of diversity. I don't think that that's what Disney's trying to do, and I don't think that's what Hollywood should do because it doesn't reflect the society we live in. However, what's missing in this conversation,
because it doesn't reflect the society. Okay, first of all, like movies don't necessarily have to reflect the society that we live in. It's really of the genre. If it's an epic fantasy movie, the movie has to reflect an epic fantasy world. If it's a sci-fi movie, the sci-fi movie has to reflect the world within the sci-fi movie. So I don't understand why people think that the movie has to look exactly like our world. We watch movies because they don't look like us. It doesn't look like our world. That's why we watch it. It's entertainment.
is that the reason why a lot of these films are not doing as well is because many of them are spin-offs, sequels, or there's just overall fatigue in the market where people want original stories. So I do think that rather than try to make this a culture war, which really it isn't, it's more of a change in taste.
It has become a culture war
From the audiences and what they want. Let's keep it 100. Pixar has not really made too many original films that have really been able to be fully marketed. And there's been an oversaturation of them. There's an oversaturation of Marvel. But if you look at other films elsewhere, there has seemed to be a trend of liking diversity, TV shows, streaming platforms. And so it seems to be a little bit intellectually dishonest.
Well, the problem is not diversity. The problem is that, the stories suck. The stories suck, and then the diversity, they force it. They force it into the characters. They force it into the movie to the point where, like, it just becomes really annoying, and people kind of, like, just get away from it.
To frame it in this way. I think
I
there's
mean,
another way to look at it.
and I'll come to Esther in one second. I mean, I would just say, my favorite movie the last few years was Top Gun Maverick, because it just did what it said on the tin, right? The guys behaved like guys, the women behaved like women, bad guys got slotted, and the good guys were heroes. I mean, that used to be how movies got made in Hollywood. They celebrated the basics in life. Now they're too busy worrying about what the basics in life actually are. Esther, I want to play a clip from South Park. Take a look at this.
Is there a problem, people?
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
Maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Fuck Indiana Jones, put a chick in it and make her name it gay!
Sure, yeah. Well, let's try that. Again.
Kathleen Kennedy is down on set right now ruining the new Bambi movie.
Put a diverse woman in it, make it gay!
Bambi's a baby deer.
Fuck baby deer, put a chick in it, make her gay!
Now, the thing about South Park, as Meghan and Harry can tell you, is that through their comedy, they often absolutely nail the truth. Esther, your thoughts?
Well, I think that the argument that they've not been making enough independent films and that's why they've been flopping. Well, the independent films that they have made have also flopped because they've not been focusing on storytelling. They're always thinking, how can I have a transgender Muslim black woman in there? And they've stopped thinking about storytelling because they actually look down on the audience that they're targeting. I also think there's another dynamic here, which is actually the media. So the media works against them. So if you actually just wanted to tell a story and the entire cast of that film was white, even before you watch the movie, all the promo will just be saturated by these sort of pink news articles saying, oh, it's sexist, it's homophobic, it's transgender. So even before the film comes out, you have media working against you. So in that, and the media will be easily disseminated. So that will kind of kill the buzz before anyone bothers to watch the film. And I think that's the issue. They've stopped respecting the audience and they feel the need to preach to them.
I just think that's so right. I just think Disney should go back to what they're good at. It's a fantastic company that used to make fantastic movies and hardly ever had a flop because they knew their audience so well and they didn't attack their audience.
Movies were not sequels.
Sorry,
a lot of those movies were not sequels. A lot of those movies were not.
But going back to Black Panther, did Black Panther succeed because there were black people in it? No,
it was a great story.
It was a recognizable character that comic fans that I had been reading since I was 6 and 7 years old.
And the thing is, they tried to replicate
followed
the same exact formula for Black Panther with the second one, and it made half as much. Clearly,
half
people
as
were
much.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to be clear.
And no one talks about it anymore.
In his statement, I want to be clear that Peltz did say in that interview that basically argued that the Marvels and Black Panther, he didn't even want to get Black Panther made. And in Iger's book that he came out in 2019, he referenced that they had to fight to get Black Panther to come out.
That was Ike Perlmutter, not Nelson Peltz.
Why? You're right. You're right. Why?
Who's backing Nelson Peltz? Why?
Right. Why?
They didn't think it would sell action figures, and he was obviously wrong on that one. And he didn't want Captain Marvel made either. but there's a lot of fishiness around Captain Marvel. And then when the sequel came out, which was the most predictable flop of all time, it flopped. It was their biggest flop. They didn't put any effort in it because they didn't put any. If you watch Captain Marvel and read the books that she was based on, she was Carol Danvers. She was Miss Marvel. She was a likable character. They turned her into a dude. And Kevin Feige is the one who put out.
Yeah, that's basic. I mean, they turn a lot of female characters into dudes, into men. They masculate the female characters.
The edict. He said, "We're gonna make half of our characters women." That's where the MCU comes from. I didn't create it. Nobody created it. Kevin Feige created it. He's the one who said, "I'm going to put down this edict and I'm going to start checking boxes." And that's exactly when they started failing, right after Captain Marvel. It's been all downhill from there. Very few of their movies have made money because the budgets have blown up beyond a record. We don't even know. We just learned that Doctor Strange cost around $300 million without marketing.
But by the way, that's the same thing that they did to Barbie. Can I just point that out? I know comic books are not as popular as Barbie, but I'm a huge Barbie fan. And the people who made Barbie didn't bother to watch one of the 47 animated Barbie films. If you actually are a fan of Barbie, the Barbie film that was produced last year and made all that money, it was a complete abomination because they didn't even bother to actually do any research. This is the thing. They have activists instead of filmmakers. That's the problem. And no one wants to watch something that's preachy and boring.
Candace Owens Jr., listen, it's not a flop.
It's a flop.
Barbie.
Wait, hold on. Did he just call her Candace Owens Jr.? Oh wait, let me listen to that. Hold on a second.
Filmmakers. That's the problem. And no one wants to watch something that's preachy and boring.
Candace Owens Jr., listen.
Candace Owens. Oh, wow.
It's not a flop.
It's a flop.
Barbie did the thing. Barbie
was an abomination.
And so all this argument about woke and this, at the end of the day, it was a fresh, original concept. People want to go see diverse films, but they also want to see things.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I'm going to end it right there. See, this guy's saying it's one of those people that they focus on like what they think people want. And no, because if that was true, if what people really wanted just to see themselves in the characters, right, then Americans will not be interested in anime and vice versa. And Japanese will not be interested in the American movies. You know, people do want to see things that they are, when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to movies, entertainment, comic books, they want to, it's an escape. And because you're escaping, people want to see something that's different from them. So, and this is what what people like this guy right here don't understand. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. So this was pretty fun. Not going to lie, this was pretty fun, guys. So, but what do you think? What do you think about all of this? Make sure to comment below. Make sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's your boy Andy Matrix, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.